Hi everyone, and welcome to the replacing values use case with WriteBack. Whether you need to update a particular set of values for a given line or several lines in your visualization, or just simply updating values on a graph, we find some difficulties to achieve this in Tableau in a way that it affects our actual data. And even though WriteBack doesn't write back to the original table, we always have a separation between your automatic data and the manual data from WriteBack. We can join them together on Tableau to get instant feedback and a very easy flow to follow directly on Tableau using WriteBack forms to provide the values together with WriteBack auto refresh and the Tableau joins or relationships to show the data together. And that's exactly what we're going to see in this dashboard. Even though I will not be modifying the original values, and that's usually a good idea in these type of use cases to make sure a good data governance policy is applied and it doesn't actually mess up any of your systems. You always know where the data is coming from. And this way we can easily update the values that we need. So for example, in my visualization in here, I can see that I already have some values that were updated with WriteBack. I've created this checkmark to showcase that. And we can easily update any other value that we need. So for example, I can click on this product over here. I see that WriteBack reads that information, and I can just very quickly update the value in here. So let's say that we actually add 10 or sold 10, and then the profit was about 150 and with 300 in sales, and I can say that I got the new values from the financial team. So once I submit this, we are going to see the value update over there using the WriteBack auto refresh functionality, and right away we see the impact that this has on the dashboard. So of course in here the impact is not that significant, it's just a smaller change, so we don't really see a lot of changing in here. But yeah, it does affect the rest of the dashboard in the sense that these values are affecting these two graphs down here. So if these were a line graph or several bar charts, if I were to update a specific bar or a point on the line, this of course would have more impact on that dashboard. But of course it's still there on the database, ready for us to read. In this case we're reading it like this, showing the values side by side, or sorry, not side by side, but replacing what was there before with the WriteBack value. However, one particularity of this use case is that we can do them one by one. If we do multiple ones at the same time, for example, over here I can select two products and say that they sold we sold 5, 50 value in sales, 10 in profit, and I'll just say that just an example in here. What's going to happen is that both of the products will keep the same value, and these can work in some scenarios in cases that we want the values to be the same. However, if we do want to provide different values for each of the products, we would need to resort to the data grid. The data grid is another way to provide values on WriteBack, and instead of just selecting one mark and bringing it to the view, we can actually select multiple marks like this, bring them all into the view, and then provide individual values for each one of them. And this way we get much more detailed input. So I can simply come in here and say, okay, so it's about 15,000 in here, and let's say 60,000 in sales. And for now, this is a draft. We can also place text fields and predefined fields on the data grid, just like on the form. So over here, let's change this to 2,500. Over here, let's do 10,000 and say that's draft. And let's just submit these two for now. So I actually selected more than I needed, so I can just click out the ones that I don't need. I could provide a comment as well. It's not mandatory in this case, so I'll just quickly submit like this. Our data is now submitted. We see the updates over here. The arrow in this case didn't change because the profit ratio stayed very similar, so that didn't affect the view as well. But we can see, just like before, we can update values on our visualization and right away get the feedback from RightBack. Now, both of the worksheets, both of the RightBack configurations are very similar. The only thing differentiating them would be the data grid view option down here. Other than that, I can actually show you how this is being built. It's just simply, just like any other use case on RightBack, you select the worksheet and the fields that you need to read. And then over here, we can see the monthly report update data, which is a table that has been created in my database to store the RightBack values, to keep everything separate from the original source of data. Then on the form, I have the fields that I'm inputting over there, as well as the comment, which is mandatory in this case, in the one over here. And as a condition, as you can see, the comment is not there yet, because it only shows up if any of the values is greater than 0. Lastly, we have the auto refresh enabled, so we see the values right away. The mark required, unique entries, and inline form. The unique entries particularity in this use case, it's very useful because in scenarios like these, we typically always want to work with the latest values. So if I go to submit again a value that's already there, I cannot submit a new entry. I can only edit what's there. So instead of submitting again, I'm just simply updating the latest entry, and that's where the unique entry's name comes from. I only have one active entry at every given time for that particular set of data. So if I were to update this value over here, it's just simply going to update that value there on the view. Now the view is being built with a set of calculated fields. So each of the value columns is a calculated field with a condition to show the correct information that we need. So if there's no data for RightBack, then we show the original value, the original profit or quantity or sales. Otherwise, we show the value from RightBack. And the calculation is basically the same for all of the fields, just depending on the field, of course. And similarly, the updated field, it's also if there's data for RightBack, it's or if there's data for RightBack or no. As for the data source, it's we're using a relationship on Tableau between the original source of data, which in this case is an Excel sheet, and then my RightBack table is being stored on database. I'm doing the connection on the product name and order date because these are the two key fields that I have in my visualization. So as you can see right here, the data grid uses a very similar approach. The linking fields in this case are the country and the state and province. And for the actual sales, profit, and profit ratio, they are all calculated fields that use a very similar approach. So if there's no data for RightBack, we show the original value. Otherwise, we show the RightBack value. So with this, as you can see very quickly as well, we can establish a replacing values use case with RightBack, always keeping our data well governed, because we always know if it's automatically generated data or data manually provided with RightBack. And we have a very nice workflow that with auto refresh and everything to get instant feedback on our dashboard. So this way, we don't really have to wait for other processes to complete. We can do everything right here on Tableau. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this use case, and thank you for watching. Bye.